And hello, and welcome everyone to the Comic Multiverse, where the worlds of nerd meet. Not to frighten you, but this week I am your freshly shaved host. I promise I have a good reason for that. I was getting too much food stuck in it. Nah, I lie. I robbed a liquor store and I needed to lay low for a while. Nah, I'm lying. It's December and it was going to become a depression beer if I didn't cut it soon enough.
And I'm Matt here with the depression beard.
It's the most
We're modeling both of
them of the year. Matt and I were just talking before we started everything we're gonna have to do to get ready, because Christmas falls on a Wednesday this year when we do the bulk of our work, so we want to have stuff in the hopper, and thankfully we do have a couple interesting things lined up that I'm sure you're all going to enjoy.
Yes, I've got a lot of interesting stuff I'll talk about later on at the end of the show that I've got coming from my channel as well.
Nice. Again, we got all the early warriors with us right now. We got Tevia, we got Batmans with a Z, we got Mielmo X, we got Creativity Cal. Thank you everyone for showing up.
Yeah, and we just got a bunch of new subscribers, so thank you to Ultimate Geek and Bob72.
Nice. Man Assault also coming in too. We got all the warriors, Matt. We got all the warriors.
We got them all.
So, this week, not a ton of news, but I figure what we do have, we can actually talk about quite a lot, because I know there's at least one story that has definitely struck a chord with Matt and myself. But before we get to that, what'd you do this week, Matt?
Not a lot. Just trying to catch up on goddamn comic reviews and...
it never ends.
Putting out a special project I got coming up, getting that all ready.
Ooh, nice. I'm finishing up. I'm near the end game of Pokemon Sword and Shield. I've been plowing away at that. That's a lot of fun. I hit this point, too, because when I first got it, I was sure to do like the Nintendo Switch Online thing, because obviously every game service makes you pay if you want to go online now.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I had forgotten that I had reached the end of the trial, and then I was like, oh, crap, I guess they want me to pay $4.99 every month. I think I've seen all I need to see.
I got this cool thing with Twitch Prime where it gave me like 3 free months, and then I just got an email just before. It's like, you can get an additional 9 months for free. And I'm like, ooh, that's pretty cool.
That's good, because I need to trade for a bunch of other ones. Because, with PlayStation, it's so easy. Every Christmas, someone gives me a year of PlayStation Plus, and then I never have to think about it.
Yeah, either a year or you get like a gift card or something, which I usually do. So I end up spending that on just a year. Don't have to worry about it.
I mean, do they do that for Nintendo? I'm sure they do. If so,
I think
will
there's
put
like there has to be like a 3-month, a 6-month, and a 12-month one.
Okay, you can get Switch Online, $20 for... Oh, that's a good price, actually. That's much cheaper, actually, than Sony for
well, they don't really offer you as much as what Sony offers you. You get, like, a bunch of free games with Sony, Nintendo Switch. You get, here's that library of games that you might want to play.
That's true. Maybe if I put that on my Amazon wish list, maybe people will remember to get that this year. Or even just for me, because I'm a person who puts shit on my Amazon wish list just so I can remember that I need shit. But we got some interesting stuff here to plow through. Ooh, I caught up on Mandalorians before we started, so I'm now all up to date on that again.
What'd you think of the last couple episodes?
Pretty fucking good, pretty interesting. I love that there is just no pretext anymore of this being a space western. This is just straight up, yep, this is a western. We're doing Seven Samurai. We're doing the Magnificent Seven.
Yeah, they're not shy about it at all, which is great.
No, I love that we're just totally living this now. Also, hey, Bryce Dallas Howard, did she direct a better Star Wars story than her dad did?
Probably about on par. Although I like Solo a lot, so...
I don't hate Solo, but it's definitely not in my rotation. But man, that was a good episode, and it was a noteworthy episode too, because the usual internet suspects were all pissy about it as per usual.
Which they're pissy about it because Gina Carano's in it, and Vagina Person can't be in Star Wars or anything. Mm-hmm. But also there's like the other side of that where people are like, hey, everyone kind of agrees that this is like really good. It's like that's legal. That can't happen. We need to farm clicks for this. God damn it! Be outraged by it.
Yeah, how can I not be mad about this? It's just like, well, if only Star Wars could be how it used to be, with no women and only white people. And again, it's like, Pedro Pascal is Pedro Pascal right? Yeah, but I don't have to look at his face. That Carl Weathers. Yeah, but he was in Predator though.
Yeah, you
Shut
remember
up, I know I
Lando?
make no sense.
Yeah, but Lando is. Shut up.
Yeah, shut up. Look, just let me like Star Wars while also being racist and sexist. I know it's incredibly difficult, but I always miss the forest for the trees and do mental gymnastics anyway. But yeah, Mandalorians is great. Still loving the shit out of it. In fact, there was another show I saw this week that we'll talk about as well when we talk about the news.
Yeah, I'm glad you can talk about it. I didn't see that show.
I
didn't even know it was coming out until I saw like your thumbnail for your review. I'm like, oh, that's out.
And that's part of the problem, actually, and we'll get into that when we get into it. But all right, our first piece of news here is something that I know Matt is going to feel passionately about, and I think all of us are going to feel passionately about, honestly. I wish I could say this is a surprise, but it's really not. But the word shooting around the internet from all the entertainment sites this week was Warner Brothers is unsure what to do with the Superman IP moving into the future. Well, that was obvious.
It's so simple. It's so simple. You just make him a fucking nice guy. You make him likable, and then the movie fucking sells itself.
But Matt, we don't know how to make likable heroes. That's a problem. We struggle with that all the time. And every so often, you'll get a Shazam and be like, wow, that was really likable. And then they'll be like, yeah, but that didn't make the money we wanted.
Yeah, because you didn't advertise it enough.
It's so truly ridiculous. Superman, the most recognizable, most beloved, even more than just a superhero, part of the pop culture Americana fabric. Mm-hmm. And Warner Brothers, we don't know what to do with him.
It says a lot that they don't know what to do with this hero who represents hope and humanity and all those sorts of really cool, really, really, really fucking relevant things.
Tell me about it.
And yet they know exactly what to do about a movie about some mentally disabled person who gets picked on and because of it decides the whole world needs to suffer because of it.
Yes, a guy who's like, everyone needs to suffer for my problems, but also maybe it's in my mind, but maybe not. And also I'm an avatar for the director. Did I mention I finally saw Joker, Matt? I mentioned that at the end of last week's episode, then we just never talked about it.
Yeah, it's pretty cool that they decided to remake Taxi Driver.
Fucking scene for scene, except for when they're not doing King of Comedy, to which I'm like, wait, they're going ahead with a sequel for this? What are you gonna do for the sequel? You already robbed every scene from Taxi Driver. Are you gonna start doing, I don't know, like Shutter Island next? Or are you gonna do like Hugo? How many other Scorsese movies can you steal whole cloth from?
Oh, we'll find out.
I did like the soundtrack, though. I will admit they actually did. Even though some of them were super on the fucking nose, like, Send in the Clowns and Carnival and all this other stuff. But I did actually like the soundtrack.
I can't actually remember. The only thing I remember is that Gary Glitter part where he's on the stairs.
Yeah, rock and roll, which people forget that song actually has lyrics to it, where it's just Gary Glitter going, rock and roll, rock and roll. Yeah, I see why they got rid of the lyrics. Gary Glitter's in jail. He did a bad thing. Really bad thing. Look that shit up. Or don't. But yeah, Superman, like you said, really, in 2019, you can't think of anything to do with the story of an alien refugee from another planet who sees the best in mankind and wants to help us and elevate us. And who's his arch nemesis again? The embodiment of predatory capitalism, who was also president at one point and who tries to demonize Superman for being an alien and being different. And who are his friends? Oh, they're journalists, you say? Really?
Yeah, and he's a journalist? What?
I can't think of anything.
At least we got like the TV like in 1 year giving us like 3 of the best Supermen on screen,
That's true. How weird is that, where it's like, Warner Brothers, we don't know what we're doing with Superman in movies, and off at the CW, we have no shortage of ideas.
Yeah, we've got a show coming up about Superman. We'll take it from here, guys.
Heck, we took a ton of Superman stories and gave them to Supergirl, and you know what? We still have ideas for Superman. What are you guys doing, everyone? Jesus Christ. Then there's talk to, but it's like, well, maybe we go in a different direction with it. Maybe we do colorblind casting for Superman, which it's like, okay, that would definitely get people talking. Mm-hmm. If they were to do that sort of thing, if they were to go into like a Earth 2, Earth 3 Superman direction. But again, it's just like, it feels like, are you really out of ideas?
Well, I said, like, because along with this report, we got that thing where they were talking about, like, the Michael B. Jordan Superman. And I'm like, well, that'd be a really cool idea where, like, you get him like they did in the early New 52 in that Grant Morrison story where he, like, teams up with the Prime Universe Superman. Like, you make Michael B. Jordan, like, the Calvin Ellis Superman, the president of Earth 23. And he's got to team up with Superman, and that'd also be like a really great way to like you keep Henry Cavill Superman, and this is like a learning step for him. Where it's like, I should be like I am in the comics. Like he learns from Michael B. Jordan's Superman.
Do you think that they would really bring Cavill back for this? Because I know his actual position as Superman in the DC universe is kind of tenuous. Like, he's in, but he's not.
That's the thing. People keep saying that, like, oh, well, he said he's still Superman. It's like, well, it's not up to him. You know, he can keep saying that, but it's not up to him ultimately. So I don't think he is, because he's got, you know, The Witcher season 2's coming out. So he's like wrapped up in that and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, I could see them recasting like they do with the Batman.
Man Assault in the chat saying, even if Cavill does care, it's clear Warner Brothers doesn't care.
No, they don't know what to do with the character.
Very, very well said. I mean, they could totally take a page out of the Spider-Verse. Like, wouldn't it be interesting if they did? Here's Superverse. Here's a bunch of different Supermen from a bunch of different universes who have to come together to do something. Surely you'll like one of these.
Adapt that Tomasi story that he did in Rebirth, with the multiverse of Superman fighting that big villain.
That would be fine. That's a movie right there. You could totally sell the shit out of that.
Yeah.
Have Cavill show up in there as a little bit and being like, oh yeah, I'm just one of many Supermen.
Yeah.
Or, do you know what, even give Tevye his due in the chat, because I know he keeps putting the bits in there. Again, tell a story about Superman becoming a father even.
Well, we're getting that in the TV show, so...
Ah, that's right, you are too. Crap. Well, can't do that then. Because again, hey, that's some unseen territory. That's a way that you could, like, you know, re-trek Smallville and all the other growing and learning Superman thing without really having to do it again, but I guess not.
Yeah.
Oops. But yeah, I think it's very clear that there's lots of places you can go with Superman, lots of things you could do, but Warner Brothers and the powers that be are being incredibly lazy, and it speaks volumes about writing in Hollywood right now. It's like, geez, we just can't write a story about a guy who is good and nice and who people like.
Yeah. Who would have thought? Who would have thought?
Well, I mean, we can, but his name is Steve Rogers.
Yeah, again, that's another thing. If, like, Marvel can do Steve Rogers, who more or less is Superman.
Yeah.
You know,
I would even say who, if done wrong, could be even more cornier and even more archaic, because he's literally a piece of World War II propaganda, and yet he's beloved all over the world by audiences everywhere.
Yeah, the Marvel Cinematic Universe turned him into a really great and interesting character.
Yeah, Captain America should be way harder to sell than Superman, because he literally wears the flag of a nation on his chest, but he goes everywhere, and it's like, nah, I love everybody, and, you know, we can all do it together, everyone, you know, greatest generation, ho. And yeah, it's so crazy. And maybe that's another problem, too, where it's like, look, culturally, in terms of cinema, maybe this generation won't get their Superman because Captain America is already filling that void.
Yep. Yeah.
Like he is to this generation what the Reeves Superman was back in the day, and that's so crazy to stop and think about. But I mean, you know, I guess we'll see what's next for Superman. Like you said, at least we got the TV show. That should be fun.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it just blows my mind. We don't know what to do with Superman.
Yeah. Well, we do. There's the people who actually own the character don't.
Yeah. Again, people in the chat all pitching stories they'd like to see do Up, Up, and Away, adapt the Jeff Johns run. Yeah, there's so many places. I've been saying forever, and I'm sure people would agree, adapt What's So Funny About Truth, Justice, and the American Way. I think that would do really well in the movie. They did it for Superman versus the Elite, and that was awesome.
They did it in Supergirl recently as well.
They did, where it's like, yeah, get some villains who aren't Luthor, who aren't Brainiac, who aren't, you know, General Zod, and actually make it a story about Superman wondering if he has a place in modern society.
Yeah, there's like no shortage of these stories out there that are still super relevant today.
I guess it once again goes to show that people working at Warner Brothers don't read the comics.
Do Super Doom. Yeah, let's not talk about Super Doom.
Super Doom. I remember Super Doom.
Remember when Doomsday was a virus that infected Superman and he turned into the giant Doomsday with a Superman costume?
Remember Kid Doomsday for a little bit, who had his own book? What
remember,
was up with it?
Doomed?
Vaguely. That's some shit they wiped off the face of the earth, and maybe for good measure. But yes, the answer is that there's lots of stuff they could do with Superman, but the answer is Warner Brothers is lazy and doesn't want to do those things.
Yeah.
Moving on for more comic book news here. Hey, Matt, we might actually be able to start reading Teen Titans again because Adam Glass is wrapping up his work on Junior Suicide Squad to go work on a Netflix show.
I saw this in the chat when you sent it to me, and I'm like, oh, I can hear Joel's like giddy laughter at the sound of this.
About goddamn time. Seriously, I don't know whose idea it was. Where it's like, hey, let's take Adam Glass, the guy who did New 52 Suicide Squad, who hasn't worked at DC for a bit, and let's let him dark and grittyify the Teen Titans for no reason. Well, it was a DiDio thing, probably, because this happened around the same time as Heroes in Crisis. This is DiDio being like, fuck these young heroes. I hate them so much. Can someone please ruin them for a few years?
Yeah. Are they still doing the story with the whole like supervillain gulag with Damien fucking torturing villains and shit?
Someone told me they don't have a gulag anymore, but he's doing something equally horrifying.
Oh, okay. So they've moved on.
Yeah, like
it's like public executions or something.
No, I think it's like something even more silly. Like I think someone told me they're like messing with their memories now or something. To where I'm like,
yeah. I remember seeing a panel about that and people getting really mad about it.
Because it's like, wait, didn't Batman get super pissed about this and they had to rewrite his mind after the whole Dr. Light Sue Dibney thing, and that went really horrible? It's nice to see we've learned nothing since then, and the fact that it's Batman's own kid who's doing this. Things are actually kind of looking up for the Titans characters across the board, because the next arc of Detective Comics is actually Damian coming back to have an arc with Batman, and I can see Tomasi just like, cracking his fingers and be like, all right, time to fix what everyone else broke.
Yeah, I've got to fix everything like he's been doing recently.
I know, because there was a bit when Damian showed up early in that book where Batman's like, we have to talk about what you've been doing, Damian. And he's like, not now, it'll take too long. He's like, fair, yeah, it will. Yeah,
back in the Arkham Knight story, it never took off. And I'm glad they're finally answering that. That was like 4 arcs ago.
Yes, it was. I hope they have a moment too with Damian where he's like, I'm just so sad and have been so lost since John went away. He was my only friend. Like, seriously, if that's what they like hang the whole thing on, that Damian is just sad that John went away because now he doesn't have any friends his own age anymore, I'll actually be okay with that.
Oh, I think Damian's going to be joining the Legion very soon.
Seriously?
Yeah, Legion of Superheroes. Yeah, John's going to bring him to the future.
That's weird, but okay. I mean, I guess Damian gets to do something then. But then Bendis is going to write it, and I don't know if I'm going to like that. You might make
he writes him like a child, like a proper child, where he shouldn't be written as a child.
Or he's going to make him take a new dumb code name and wear a dumb brown suit.
He's going to be called Dick. Just Dick.
Yeah. Just to really fuck with you. Yeah, your name is Dick now. He wears a flesh-colored costume with like a big cap. He's the Dick. He's here to fuck crime. You'll see. But yeah, so Adam Glass is coming off this book. I hope they put someone interesting on it, and I hope they don't stay this weird, dark, gritty course. Because I'm upset that I don't get to read Titans anymore. I really enjoyed Titans for a while.
Yeah, you warned me off of it because I was going to start reading it because I'm like, I want to start reading Titans after the actual Titans book finished, and you warned me off of it.
DC, since the New 52, has had such this weird relationship with Titans where it's like, okay, we're starting from scratch. None of that other Titan stuff you remember happened, but we like that stuff. We want it back. Well, you got Libdell now, so screw you. It didn't happen. Okay, it happened. and everything, and okay, and now Benjamin Percy is writing, and like it's really cool now, and like it's actually about young heroes again, and you get the Titans with the older characters, and you get the new Teen Titans where they're actually teens, and that's fun, and that's cool. Okay, we're gonna ruin it again by getting Adam Glass on it and making all those other characters go away. Okay, we've broken it now, so who are we gonna get to come fix it again?
Yeah. Was Glass like aware that like what he was doing like wasn't loved?
I mean, it was his pitch, and again, the people up top absolutely loved it, and by people, I'm sure that means Dan DiDio, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Look, if I'm making one of the big bosses at the company happy, so what does it matter? And, you know, there's, like, sadistic completionists who are like, well, I own every issue of Teen Titans, so naturally I have to read this.
That's true, yes. Yeah. I have to read it, and I have to like it.
I have to read it, and
I have too much. I have too much on the line here.
I know. You know, here's hoping they like send the characters who matter back to their own books to be rehabbed. Be it Wally 2 or Emiko and Damien. It's like go back to your own books and be rehabbed, please.
But see, that's the thing. Like Wallace is like fine in the Flash book. Like he's in there. He's like fighting the Rogues at the moment. And he's like completely fine in that. But yeah, as like you've told me, like what he's like in this and what I've seen, he's like completely different character.
Oh yeah. Also completely hung up about his father and how, you know, he was killed by the Suicide Squad. It's like, no, he sacrificed himself for the Suicide Squad, and you knew this because you got told this in another book, and you were cool with it. That issue 1 is one of the worst issue 1s because it's clear Adam Glass did not read a single word of anyone else's work, and it's just like, well, we're doing this then. Also, you know, Emiko hates her mother now, and they fight, but they reconciled at the end of Green Arrow. Yeah, well, fuck that.
Oh, God damn it. God damn it.
Literally in one issue, he burned down years worth of character development. Damien, too, which was the worst one. You know, hey, I'm kind of an all right guy now. You know, I'm on the Super Sons. I'm hanging out. I'm doing a good job now. I've, you know, brought the Teen Titans back to prominence. I'm going to try and attempt murder Black Mask. And I'm going to, you know, start a gulag and everything and prove I've learned nothing.
Oh, boy.
I could go on forever about this. We got to move on to another story matter. I'll just be too mad. All right, what's our next story here? Ooh, Harley Quinn the animated series premiered on the DC Universe app. One of the few shows that you can actually watch there and only there that's not going to HBO Plus. But if it's popular, we'll see.
Yeah, and I didn't even know it was out until I saw Joel's review.
Part of the problem right there. DC Universe did a terrible job advertising this, but really their loss is my gain because many people who saw my video said the exact same thing. Oh, this is out right now? Yeah, it is.
Yeah, they didn't do a very good job advertising. Do you think like it was either the fact that like they themselves kind of like, oh, well, it's Harley Quinn, it'll advertise itself, like people will just know about it and want to see it, and just didn't bother because of that, or they just don't have faith in the show or something?
I mean, I think they've advertised all their shows poorly. I think either that or they blew the, marketing load on Titans, which good job for that. I mean, I think the app doesn't have near the money as it stands right now. I think it's hemorrhaging money, and I don't think they can afford to even promote their shows right now.
Yeah.
Which is a crying shame because Harley Quinn, I actually thought was pretty good and pretty funny. It's got a unique voice. It actually revels in the fact that, yes, this is for adults, and yet it's not so completely and utterly juvenile. Yes, there's a lot of swearing and a lot of blood, but they don't overdo it.
Yeah, I'm just not interested in it because I'm Harley'd out.
That's fair. That's fair. This is like a terrible time for this because Harley is just inescapable right now. What I dig about the show is that it really comes at the material from the direction of like, look, whether you know everything about the comics and the history, whether you know nothing about it, we're going to get you up to speed and everyone can enjoy. And if you are a comic fan, you'll laugh maybe a little harder because there'll be a reference here that you would get that no one else would get. But by and large, it's very accessible.
Like, what's the overall story? Is it like, do they do anything new with her? Because that's my thing. Like, Harley Quinn hasn't had anything new happen to her since her like creation. Like they just keep doing the same shit over and over again.
it's funny, it's not even so much that they do anything new with her, but that they rearrange stuff that has happened in an interesting way to
Okay.
have cause and effect that the comics haven't had. So as we start off, she is the Joker's sidekick, as we know her to be.
Mm-hmm.
She's got the original costume and everything. It's a nice touch. She really wants to impress the Joker, but the Joker, who is voiced by Alan Tudyk here, who does a great job.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he's like a mainstay on these DC shows.
He really is. Dude, he's paying the fucking bills around there. This whole show is excellent voice casting. If you're a voice acting nerd, you're going to positively love this because they got so many great choices here. But yeah, he keeps stepping on all of her lines. He keeps, ruining all of her bits because, he's the Joker and he doesn't want to be upstage.
Mm-hmm.
And that starts to piss her off. And she ends up going to jail at the end of one of their capers. And he's like, don't worry, I'll break you out. Then like a year passes and she's just been waiting for to come break her out. And Poison Ivy, who's like the straight woman to her like manic comedy woman, being like, girl, he's never coming for you. Can you not tell? Man, who actually really surprised me in this show? Someone they do something different with? Gordon, actually.
Yeah, what do they do?
So Gordon is voiced by Christopher Maloney from Law and Order,
Oh, wow.
SVU, and Happy fame. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So they got like a professional TV cop to play this TV cop, and the joke is that he is so clearly coming apart at the seams and so close to a nervous breakdown, being the one good cop in Gotham, but nobody cares how close he is to falling over the edge.
Oh, jeez.
So he's just screaming at Harley Quinn, and he's like all dirty, and he's got like a cracked coffee mug and everything, and like shit in his mustache, and just like Batman is just so over that this poor man is having a breakdown, and it's very funny because Maloney is very funny. People think of him as like a dramatic actor, but he actually does comedy very well.
Yeah.
Jim Rash plays the Riddler. Did you ever see that
that's
show,
good
Mike Tyson?
casting. That's good casting.
It's very good casting. If you've ever seen Mike Tyson Mysteries, he literally just does his Marquet de Queensberry for Riddler.
Oh, nice.
It's great. And the whole thing is that this episode, the Riddler's like, I have created a riddle so funny it will make people's heads explode, which naturally pisses off the Joker. And to try and get back with the Joker, Harley says, I'm going to go kill the Riddler. And she ends up getting captured alongside Batman. And Riddler does this whole Sophie's Choice thing where it's like, okay, Joker, you have to choose who you love more, Harley or Batman. And naturally, he chooses Batman.
Oh, cool.
Which pushes Harley over the edge and eventually pushes her to go out on her own and get like the new 52 Palmiotti costume.
Oh, okay, nice.
To where I'm like, okay, that's actually more reasoning for her changing costume than the comics ever gave.
Yeah.
I actually appreciate that. So she like beats up a bunch of the Joker's henchmen and has her big, I'm going solo moment, but does not kill the Joker even though she has the chance to, and says, I'm going solo because I want you to see how good I can do without you. I'm going to go join the Legion of Doom. So that's like her character thing for this season. I want to become such a good solo villain. They'll let me join the Legion of Doom.
See, that sounds more interesting than anything that's been done in the comics.
It really does. And also, they don't shy away from the fact that Harley is not a good person, that she is a killer.
Good.
And that
Good.
Oh yeah, she does some very bad, very fucked up things. She is an anti-hero. You are not supposed to like her right away. And I think there's so many places the show could have gone wrong, and I think they go right here.
Oh, you've won me over. I'm going to give it a watch because that's like a big thing. Like Harley, for all intents and purposes, is fucking hero now in the comics. Like they've just completely made her a hero and gotten rid of like the interesting aspects, like the anti-hero aspects. So it's good that that's actually in the show.
Yeah, it's not like full on like, just slice of life like the Palmiotti comics became by the end when she was kind of directionless. She actually has a direction here. She wants to outdo the Joker by being a better criminal than him. And as we've seen from the commercial, she's going to be recruiting like a whole bunch of other D-list villains to join her gang. So you got King Shark and Dr. Psycho and all these other ones.
Oh, nice.
And King Shark is going to be voiced by Ron Funches, and I can't wait for that.
Oh, that's perfect.
Yeah, and they said, too, for Dr. Psycho, they're bringing him back to, like, his golden age roots where he's, like, a full-on misogynist. And I'm like, see, that's going to be funny, too, that Harley recruits this person for her gang. But yeah, good voice casting, pretty solid jokes. I liked this one. Definitely check this one out. It's very much not what you think, and
Cool.
they go hard too in the comedy. Literally the first lines you hear is Joker dressed up as like a sea captain on a boat with a bunch of Gotham's elite, and there's a big pile of money there, and he's like, "Gentlemen, my fellow whites, let us raise a toast to forever fucking the poor." And I'm like, "Oh, we're going here. We're going hard in the paint." It's good. It's good stuff. I like it.
That's good.
So yeah, I sold you on that one. What else do we got going on here? Ooh, some Marvel comic news. This one just hit the internet today, but Wolverine #1, which is coming out this week, I think, or maybe next week, very soon.
Soon, yeah.
But it was announced that issue 1 of Wolverine is going to be a staggering $7.99.
Oof.
That's a big price point. Now, in the defense of the book, Benjamin Percy, you know, I'm a fan, you're a fan. He came out on his own Twitter and it's like, yes, that is the price, but there's 2 stories for the price of 1 in here. So you're getting a double length comic, I promise. And, you know, the reason we wanted to do a double length comic is that, you know, I wanted to do one more traditional action-y Wolverine story, and then the other one I wanted it to be more of a horror story so people could get like a good feel for the book I'm doing. And I'm like, oh, Wolverine is a horror story. Okay.
That's actually pretty cool. If it works with Hulk, it worked with Hulk.
It does work. It definitely works with Hulk. And also, too, I could totally see Marvel being cool with that, for them being like, yeah, do 2 stories in 1 because it's Wolverine #1 and everyone is going to buy it. And yeah, we can reasonably charge almost $8 plus tax with it.
Yeah, we'll make a killing off that.
I'm sure they will. Obviously, no one likes to see $7.99 for a single issue, even if it is 2 stories. And I know we've joked repeatedly, you know, about the fear of a $10 comic future.
Oh yeah. I already suffer that thanks to exchange rates. So
that's true. Yeah, Canada too, to a lesser extent. But yeah, you know, if you live anywhere but the States, exchange rates will fuck you, and they do.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's your Wolverine news, everyone. So don't get too shocked when you go to the store or when you open your digital app. I'm assuming most people read digitally these days anyway. I know I do. Don't be shocked when you look at that and you see a $7.99 price tag.
Yeah.
That's a roughie, is what that one is.
Certainly is.
But hey, you know what? All the X-Men comics have been really good recently, and we're going to talk about Benjamin Percy's work on X-Force when we talk about what we read this week. So, you know, if it was anyone else, I'd be like, no, but this guy, I'm like, okay, you know what, maybe.
Yeah, if this was a Scott Lobdell comic, I'd be like, fuck off with that shit.
Yeah. Also, what am I talking about? I was going to get it anyway for work, so it's like he already had my money. But there it is. What is it? Next up, we got a last story here. And this isn't so much comedy or comic related, but it is related to Disney and acquisitions and apps and everything and like kind of geek ephemera. So it's kind of a cool thing to talk about. The Simpsons might very well be coming to an end very soon, is the hot scuttlebutt from people who actually work on the show.
I don't think it will be.
I mean, it seemed to be the little show that can always survive even when people think it will die, even when, you know, it stopped being the cultural juggernaut, even when, you know, reviews stopped being as good. It still kind of hung in there because, well, what else was Fox going to put on Sunday night? It was the cornerstone of their entire lineup. Hell, the show itself joked about the fact that Fox had nothing going for them but The Simpsons for years. But now it's not up to Fox anymore. Now it's up to Disney. Yeah,
and I could see them doing the show, keep doing the show. What they should do, though, is they should cut back the episodes. Because at the moment, seasons are like 30 episodes or something.
They're ridiculously long, which for animation is hellacious, takes forever, and is wildly expensive.
Yeah, so maybe like cut that in half and do like 15 episode seasons. That's still quite a long lot, you know. You get 15 weeks out of the year for a season, you know.
Especially for a show like this that has such a ridiculously large backlog, and for a show where the actors are paid so heavily.
Yep.
But, you know, I've kind of been theorizing this for years, when will The Simpsons end? What will be the thing to finally kill it? And, Disney, I could definitely see being the company above all else to be like, no, we already have enough. We're going to make a mint off the merchandise and rerunning this in other territories to the end of time. Let us cut our losses. Why would we want to make another full season? You have an interesting thing there saying it's like, yeah, make it, just cut it in half, though.
Yeah, it'll like you could cut it in half and like make a full season but cut it in half and air them both at like different times of the year or something. Put it up on Disney Plus. But yeah, as you said, like they could just easily just cut their losses and just say, oh, we've got it up on Disney Plus. We've got the merchandising rights. We're making a bunch of money and we're not putting into it basically.
I mean, it asks a bigger question, that is, when should The Simpsons be allowed to end? And I mean, look, the first 10 or so seasons, depending on where your cutoff range is, some of the finest, most pop culture redefining animated comedy ever made. And then you got the rest. Which, again, depending on who you talk to, everyone's cutoff is a little later and later. But, my thing is, and, it's an old adage where it's like, I can't miss you if you never go away. And I'll admit I have not watched The Simpsons regularly in almost a decade, to be honest. And I don't feel like I've missed much. I mean, I'll still rewatch those first 10 seasons, day, night, whenever, because, they're as close to perfection as you can get on television. But in my mind, where it's like, look, maybe The Simpsons should go away for a bit. Maybe people should miss it. Maybe you should hear some good pitches from people who have ideas to, move the show in a different direction, or hell, do another movie or something, or, make it like a special mini series. Heck, go back to making them like little 11-minute segments like they were back in the day on the Tracy Ullman Show.
I'd like the show to like finish out on like a movie, but also I'd like it to finish up on one of those like they I don't know if they do them anymore, but they used to do those things where they get the Troy McClure character in and he do like those where are they now, like this is your life sort of episodes for The Simpsons, and make it just like full on meta and just like go out like that.
Those are really good. They did the Behind the Music one. They did the Simpsons spin-off showcase. Usually they were wraparounds for clip shows and everything. But yeah, that would be a good way to end it, because that's the bigger problem too. It's like, how do you end a show like The Simpsons that's been on for like 30 plus seasons? How do you end it and make it satisfying, or you just don't make it satisfying and you just have it end on another episode?
Yeah, it's very hard to end something that's been on for, what's it on now, like 34 seasons or something?
34, 35. It's outpaced Gunsmoke. It's now the longest running show in prime time.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. Man Assault in the chat says Simpsons GT. Yes, that's right. We'll fly them all into space, and it won't be, and the animation won't be nearly as good. And some people will like it because it goes back to the more Toriyama comedy roots, and other people will hate it because they only want the action of Z.
And then we'll do the Simpsons Kai, and then the Simpsons Super.
Oh. See, I like Simpsons Kai. We just pare it down to the best jokes, and we, take out all of Homer's power-up animation. That really brought the show down, all of Homer powering up for episodes and episodes. It wasn't even Flanders' final form. But yeah, I mean, I think there's definitely places The Simpsons can go, but I have long subscribed to the idea I can't miss you if you don't go away.
Yeah.
And maybe it's time for them to go away so we can miss them. It's more of a mercy killing than anything.
That'll be a joke in the show as well. They're mercy killing us. we haven't been as good for 10 years.
Well, they would totally do that too. Hell, the joke from that Behind the Music style episode is they're editing it, and Homer jokingly says, "This will be the last season." And it went on for like 20 more. So even they wanted to like end that shit back then, and they never got a chance to.
Yeah, and as Amazing Spider-Man says, they still got to fix The Simpsons on Disney Plus because they fucked the aspect ratio. For some reason. You miss
so many good text jokes. You really do.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's basically all the news we had this week, everyone. Not a heck of a lot to write home about, but some interesting conversation topics that I hope entertained you. And with that, we can talk about what we read this week. And Matt and I both agree we are very far behind. Where would you like to start, though, Matt?
What the fuck did we even have this week? I'm like all over the place this week in terms of comics.
We had X-Force issue 2 that came out for sure.
Yeah, this was a good episode. Good episode.
Yeah, I agree. It was. You say episode, and I think you're right because this really felt like an episode of a cop show where Wolverine and Quentin Quire, his comedy mismatched partner, have to go and get to the bottom of Xavier's assassination, who is still very much dead.
Yeah, I said in my review, I'm really glad this wasn't just like a flip the switch and he's back. Like they have to work to bring him back, and it's even better because that kind of folds into the whole arrogance thing Xavier had, where he's like, I'm untouchable, like no mutant's gonna try and kill me, and everything. So much so that he didn't have like a set contingency for if he did die. So like Jean and Hank have to kind of like make it up as they go along. It's like, well, we'll get this Cerebro up and running, and then hopefully with a little faith he'll be in there and we can fucking bring him back to life.
That's a nice touch. I like too that Magneto, he's not even mad, he's more disappointed than anything. Like, man, we got really complacent, didn't we?
Yeah, he's like the only one who's like, guys, this is probably going to be a big problem, like we need to bone up a little bit.
This is on us. There's a lot of sword imagery in this book, as he takes the messed up Cerebro and makes a sword out of it, and then they talk about the sword of Damocles and everything else, either all hanging over the heads of mutant kind, and I'm like, that's nice.
Yeah, and we do indeed find out about more about these assassins, and they did indeed have strips of Domino's skin on them that tricks the Krakoa, which is really like that's a big security hole. So like someone could just like capture Wolverine and just like carve off a little piece of him and just like glue it onto them, and they could like get onto the island.
That seems like a glitch in the system. That seems like something you might want to work on in the future.
And we find out that these people are like printing assassins, basically, like on demand.
It's an assassin factory. And
everything about them is like built to be assassin. They've got like exploding teeth and like fiber wire in their ears. just really random shit like that. And
just ridiculous. They've got like little blades in their wrist like Wolverine, and their weapons are Reaver weapons, and I'm like, oh, so they were designed solely to kill mutants and nothing else.
Pretty much, yeah. And Quentin Quire and Wolverine go and like find them in South Korea, and they get attacked by weird skinned people.
Yeah, that's really gross and really awesome.
Yeah.
They also have psychic dampeners, too, so Quentin actually can't do anything, and Wolverine has to save him naturally.
Yeah, he's useless, and they find Domino, who's, for all intents and purposes, dead.
I liked it, too, where it's like, oh, so, the mutants, they've upped their game so much by building a nation. All the mutant-hating groups have to equally up their game now to, like, almost Weapon X levels, but on humans, which is worse.
Yeah, the humans are up. Ironically evolving
to fight it, which is a big
to combat
theme.
them. Yeah, which is a big theme with all these books basically. And I like that. I like that they're not just like your usual like mutant hating groups you see that are usually just like men with pickets and protesting. It's like, damn muties, we'll blow up a building maybe. These ones are actually like a threat. They managed to kill Charles Xavier.
Right, which I'm sure this is connected to that weird Eyes Wide Shut organization that Domino was infiltrating before, which, man, Benjamin Percy loves his masked organizations because he did it in Green Arrow, too.
Yeah, these are just, what were they in Green Arrow? What were they called?
Oh, the Ninth Circle.
Yeah, the Circle, yeah.
I keep waiting for that thing, too. It's like, are these guys also the Ninth
the
Circle?
10th Circle.
Oh shit, they're even deeper down in Dante's Inferno. But yeah, this one continues to be cool, and this was the one X-Men book I read this week. I didn't bother to read Fallen Angels or New Mutants.
I've like flicked through New Mutants, and it's pretty funny. It's like a courtroom procedural where they like
that's
where the mutants like get taken to the court, and they got like a really shitty like barrister like who's trying to defend
Public
them and
defender.
everything, and Sam and Smasher come in and like save them.
Right, because that's what they were eventually building up to, where it's like, look, we're not the full New Mutant team yet. We need to actually get Sam back, who is married to Smasher now, and that's a whole big thing.
Yeah.
Which, again, of course, Hickman would be sure to honor that continuity, because that all spun out of stuff that he himself wrote.
Yeah, do we think we'll get an X-Men versus Avengers 2? Probably not.
Good question. I mean, I think this is going to lead up eventually to a X-Men versus the whole Marvel universe, not just the Avengers. This is eventually going to blow up into something.
Do you think? I don't think it'll arrive in a battle. I think like we'll get like the Avengers or like Captain America and all that, like talking with the mutants and everything and realizing what they've built, but maybe just like warning them like, hey, just maybe don't get so arrogant, or like don't do this because this raises alarms. Don't do that. You get put on lists for that.
Magneto or Apocalypse or Mr. Sinister or even Moira is going to do something to fuck it up for everybody.
Yeah. Something's gonna fuck it all up. That's like the thing with the mutants. That's what Hickman's been doing. It's like it's been a circle, and they haven't had that come round again part of the circle yet. It's gonna come around and bite them in the ass.
Especially this idea we know now that they can basically clone perfect bodies with like different minds and everything in them. There's like, so someone isn't who they seem to be, someone's going to kickstart a war somehow.
Yep.
Because it can't not go there. But yeah, so that was X-Force. I liked it.
Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah, what else did you have, Matt?
Tell you what else I liked. I liked that Tales of the Dark Multiverse Infinite Crisis.
Yeah, I read this too. Hey, what if people actually listened to Blue Beetle back when that story was going on in 2005, 2006, and what if shit actually got done?
Well, not only that, it's like, what if Blue Beetle wasn't killed by Maxwell Lord? And it's like, oh, that's pretty cool. Oh, wait, no, it's like infinitely worse.
It's actually terrible. It's so funny that Tynan chooses that moment where to spin off these events, because I remember being so mad back then when Blue Beetle got killed, because it was so stupid, where it's like, no man, why are you being so proud right now? You should do what everyone would have done in this situation, that is lie to Maxwell Lord, say you're gonna work with him, and then turn the tables on him, which admittedly he does here, and it all goes to hell. Yeah,
it all just goes to shit like immediately, and we get a power mad Ted Kord fixing everything in the DC universe, but in turn also making things much worse.
It's, again, as most of these stories have been, it's a real the road to hell is paved with good intentions type thing.
Yeah. So I like the idea that like he becomes the leader of Checkmate. He becomes the king, the Black King, and he's got Brother Eye there, and he uses Brother Eye to kind of end things before they happen. So he broke his peace with the Rand and Thanagarians, and he discovers Lex Luthor's secret cabal that's been basically running things from the deep state.
He stops the events of Secret Six before they can get started,
and makes them. Yeah, he makes them his Secret Six.
And I'm like, James Tynan, man, thank you for remembering this. And then he even stops the events of like the Spectre going crazy. Basically, every event that spun out of the events of Infinite Crisis, he stops in like one panel.
Yeah, he stops, and eventually leads to him gaining the attention of the Justice League, who I love them again, like in the original Infinite Crisis. They're very nonchalant, but like, we won't worry about this. Again, it's like Booster Gold throughout this is like they're gods that don't care about any of this, and it's very true here, where Batman and the rest are told by Booster that something's wrong with Ted. Please look after Ted, and they're like, whatever.
Yeah,
whatever.
Yeah, whatevs. It's all good.
And then Batman learns about all of these things that like he's gotten like the Crystal of Eclipso, and again the Rand Thanagarian War. He stopped all that, and Batman's like, oh shit, he's got so much power. Like, why did we not learn about this sooner? And Booster Gold's over in the corner telling him like, I told you so.
It's so funny too, because Blue Beetle totally puts Batman on blast in this story
too.
Where it's like, look, it's like, the reason that Brother Eye would have gone crazy and killed everyone, right? It's because you built it and you imprinted too much of your bullshit on. I'm treating Brother Eye like a person, not like a tool and a weapon, and he loves me more.
Yeah, and not only that, like Batman's like, yeah, but you killed Maxwell Lord, you still got to answer for that. And Blue Beetle was like, well, you should probably answer for all the crimes you've committed in that cow then first as well.
Oops.
Yeah, he's like, fuck off, Batman. I'm going to stay in my Swiss Alps castle.
And then he does for the rest of the issue, which is hilarious. He put him on blast so hard.
Well, first he goes after Mockingbird and the secret cabal and finds out that they've all been viciously murdered by Superboy Prime and Alexander Luthor of Earth 3.
Which I love that they keep that piece of continuity from Secret 6 intact, where it's like, who was the original Mockingbird? It was Luthor, but not the Luthor you think. It was the other Luthor the whole time.
Yeah, it was Alexander Luthor, and he tries to convince them that they need to like remake the universe, get rid of all of this one, remake it so obviously the Earth 2 Superman and Lois can come back because their Earth got destroyed and all that sort of stuff. And yeah, it was pretty cool. It's cool seeing like the Superboy Prime just being the whiny little bitch that he is. And then like kind of having
how easily Cord gets him onto his side by being like, I've done more good work than Luthor has. Oh yeah, you're right. Fuck that guy.
Which is even funnier because like in that part, like Luthor is talking about how easy it was to manipulate Superboy Prime to his side, and then Ted just does that as well. I thought that was pretty funny.
It's really funny where it's like, wow, Superboy Prime is just a tool, literally, to be used by everyone. And he still fucks it up in the end, too, because Blue Beetle's like, all right, so, to stop another crisis from happening, I'm either going to have to kill or convert all the superheroes. Look, I'll deal with all the adult heroes. Superboy Prime, you deal with the young heroes. I can trust you to do this, right? You won't go crazy and kill everyone. Okay, cool.
Yeah, okay. And he immediately just starts killing people.
It's like, man, Ted, for a guy who's so smart, you sure did back the wrong horse.
And then, yeah, it ends with him sort of infecting everyone. He lets Booster tries to like kill him, but then Ted's like the Brother Eye at this point. Brother Eye is like integrated into Ted's body. Brother Eye ends up killing Booster in a cool like bit of irony. It's kind of framed like how he was killed originally in the Infinite shot, Crisis. Yeah. And then that like forces him, and he still is like, oh no, my best friend dies. Oh, I guess I better just like give up to this, autonomous AI that's definitely not going to destroy the world. And he does, and it immediately destroys the world.
Oops.
Yeah, and then Tibbers figuring out, it's like, I'm out.
Yeah, this is getting too real for me. And no crises ever came to this planet ever again because all sentient life was destroyed. Yeah, that was some good shit. That was fun.
Yeah, I think there's one more. I think there's only Judas Contract left.
Yeah, I wonder how that one's going to go, because Judas Contract is cool, but Judas Contract really doesn't involve the whole universe. It's not like a big Crisis level event or even the death of Superman. It really only affected the Titans.
Or maybe it won't now. Maybe it'll infect more people.
Maybe it will. I'm like, well, how is, Judas Contract going to be different? Is it going to be Tara doesn't betray the Teen Titans this time? And how does that make things different?
Yeah, does she, like, decide to go against Slade? And, like, they end up stopping Slade and starting, like, a team. And maybe that, like, gets the ball rolling. Where it's like, well, now we'll just kill all our villains or something.
Maybe, where it's like, wow, that was so much easier. Or is it like, oh, so...
Guest writer, Adam Glass.
Or maybe it's something like Tara doesn't betray the Teen Titans, but they don't learn and grow from that situation. So like Dick never becomes Nightwing or something.
Yeah.
And maybe they end up getting killed on another mission, and that like fucks up the rest of the heroes or something.
Yeah, or they manage to like convince Slade, and he becomes a good guy.
Oh shit, that might be interesting.
Yeah, I'm sure there's probably like a preview page that'd tell us what we're just guessing.
I know, we're just guessing, as we tend to do. Also, speaking of Deathstroke, his book is coming to an end very soon, after like 50 plus issues.
Oh, he's Christopher Priest book?
Yeah, that Christopher Priest book is coming to an end soon, which, man, good run for 50 plus issues of Deathstroke.
Yeah, every book that's not, Batman or Superman or Wonder Woman gets like 80 plus issues. Flash is on like issue 85 at the moment.
Yeah. That Deathstroke book was an underrated gem for a long time there. I had to drop it at a bit just because I had way too much other stuff and the story was kind of meandering for a bit. But yeah, it's cool that he got to have the run that he did.
Yeah.
And that it got to be like this kind of weird, mature adult's take on Deathstroke. I like that. And his messed up dysfunctional family. What else did we have after that? I had Venom number 20 this week. This was a cool one.
I haven't read this one yet. I keep meaning to pick it up.
It's very cool. This is everything I would have liked Absolute Carnage to have done at the very end.
Yeah. Well, I do know Donny Cates took to Twitter and said like Venom issue 20 is going to be like kind of like a required reading, basically.
It was.
Yeah.
Boy, was it.
Awesome.
We hook up with the Maker. This book is like 90% about the Maker and where he went after the big fight in Absolute Carnage.
Okay, where did that coward run off to?
He ran off to his secret base where, again, he starts talking about Project Oversight, where I'm like, oh, yeah, that's right. He said, like, he was working for people when he showed up, which is weird because that's very unmaker. He was working for these Project Oversight guys.
Yeah, okay.
And his big thing there, it's like, I really wanted to capture the Venom symbiote in the codexes, for my research. And unfortunately, I didn't get to do that now because Eddie stopped me. And, that's such a shame. But I learned a lot, though, about this kid, about Dylan. And, yes, they completely confirm he is a human codex hybrid.
Oh, okay. Cool.
So I called that months ago. I was happy about that. And Maker further goes on. He's developed this theory of, why the symbiotes give birth when they do. And it says, it corresponds basically to the universe. Whenever a big threat is coming, they have to create a bigger, badder symbiote, try to, protect the hive, essentially, and fight against it.
Okay.
So he's implying that, Dylan might be the most powerful symbiote hybrid ever, because obviously he has the power to, like, dispel and destroy other symbiote creatures.
Nice.
So strengthening the theory that, like, if Null is the symbiote Satan, then naturally Dylan is like the symbiote Messiah. He will set them all free. He will part the symbiote seas and lead them all in the desert for 40 years. But it doesn't end there, where it's like, I was just happy, where it's like, cool, I'm right. But then they keep going, and the Maker's like, yeah, so the only reason I'm doing this, though, is that because I want to go back to my own universe. I want to go back to the Ultimate Universe. Mm-hmm. But there's a problem with that. The Ultimate Universe might not exist anymore, or if it does, it's probably destroyed. Also, you can't keep going back and forth between universes without, potentially destroying your body and mind, and I don't want that.
Yeah.
But as we've discovered, apparently symbiotes can move between universes very easily, and they do, from what the Maker is saying.
Ooh.
Yeah, so he wants a suit of his own so he can try and get back to the Ultimate Universe. And the reason he knows that symbiote suits can do this is because he has the Ultimate Venom symbiote.
Oh, nice.
It came to him, so it survived the trip, and that's how he, processed this idea. And it's like, look, so, if I can get this going, which begs the question, but why does he want to go back to the Ultimate Universe? And that is because Project Oversight, the people he's been working for, is actually the Council of Reeds.
Ooh, that's interesting.
And very interesting. And the thing is that the Maker wants to join the Council of Reeds, but the Council of Reeds have a rule: you can't have a Reed who doesn't have his own universe.
Yeah. Oh, interesting. We haven't seen the Council of Reeds for a while. I think since that Human Torch thing book.
Yeah, it's been a very, very long time since we've seen the Council of Reeds, and they're back to their, arrogant, villainous ways, spreading their influence throughout the universe.
I liked them in that Marvel 2-in-1 book because they were like kind of friendly, kind of heroic.
Well, that was a little earlier in their career and everything. Again,
Yeah.
they have a dark side to them, and the fact that they would even want to let someone like the Maker in should let you know.
Yeah, that's true.
That they're not great. But so Maker wants to go back to the Ultimate Universe, or whatever's left of it. Again, they might not even be there, so he can join the Council of Reeds.
Yeah, they've been dropping hints at like going back to the Ultimate Universe in like bunch of different books. So I imagine it's going to be coming back in some form.
See, I truly wonder if they're like actually going to bring it back, or if they're just going to tease it for a little bit. Because in the Miles book, he's remembering his life in the Ultimate Universe now, where before he didn't. And I wonder, it's like they're just gonna get there and it's gonna be like, yeah, it's gone. There's nothing here. It's dead. It's empty.
I heard that they have like this big event, like Journey to the Ultimate Universe, and
Mhm.
it's like big 6 issue, and they get to the in the last issue, they finally get there, and it's just like a wasteland, and it's just like nothing there, like big void. It's like, well, let's just go home now. We'll
Yeah,
go back to
nothing,
the
nothing.
616.
Because here's the thing, where it's like, even if Donny Cates really wants to resurrect the Ultimate Universe, I wonder if they would even do it, because that would mean having to acknowledge everything Brian Michael Bendis had done, and so far they seem to be trying to bury every single thing he's ever done.
Or they could do like some like time travel, space time continuum hijinks, where it's like the Ultimate Universe is back, but it's in a time before all the Bendis shit
Right.
took place.
Yeah. Well,
So
I mean,
the stuff in Ultimates has kind of happened, all the Mark Miller stuff, and then like we just after that.
which that would be weak too, because it's like, but people only really liked Ultimate Spider-Man, though. It was the one book that maintained after everything died. Yeah, but we can't do that because Bendis, though. But people want it, but we can't do it. And like, here's the thing too. Like, I liked the Ultimate Universe when it was a thing, but I am still a very firm believer in that it ran its course and ultimately outlived, the very modus operandi that it started with, and that is to give people an easier to digest alternate Marvel universe. Only they replaced that with its own version of a complicated Marvel universe.
It started with like Ultimatum and like Ultimates 3 and like all these one weird and wonderful like shit that just made it as complicated as the 616 universe.
To where it's like, look, I don't need to remember two universes, so it's like, yeah, just friggin' end it. And indeed they did. But, this is Marvel, and if they think they can wring a buck out of anything, they'll totally do it. They're just like, all right, Ultimate fans, how much nostalgia do you have? Do you want to pay us for this? Because you can pay us for it. We'll do it. That's the way. If you listen to the Elseworlds exchange, we boiled that down. Marvel will do any idea if they think they can turn a buck from it, and DC will do any idea, no matter how terrible, if it feeds the egos of a few people at the top.
Yeah.
Which, again, neither are great ways to run a company, but, at least the way Marvel does it, you can get weird and wonderful things like Superior Spider-Man and, like, shit like that.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so that was Venom number 20. Venom number 20, super cool. Man, I was disappointed by Absolute Carnage, but this one reeled me right the fuck back in.
Well, that's good. That's good. Yeah, it does sound like that maybe should have been, like, the cap end of, like, Absolute Carnage issue 5. But I guess he wants people to keep reading his series.
Exactly. It's like, what? You think I'm going to give that away for free in the big event? No, motherfucker, you got to read my main book. Where I'm like, respect, man. If I was you, I might do the same. What else did you have? I only had two more. I didn't read all that much, ultimately.
I had Action Comics issue 1016.
Ooh, do tell.
Well, I don't really want to, but
I had a distinct feeling.
Oh god, this issue is so fucking clumsy. So the book is like bookended with the Justice League in Metropolis fighting the Legion of Doom. Apex Lex and Legion of Doom symbol in the sky, which can't possibly be happening.
No, I'm like, time. How is this in any way connected to Justice League? I can already see there's a lot wrong with that.
And then in the core of the book is Clark almost gets kidnapped by Leviathan, but Leviathan here is Gorilla City soldiers that teleport him to Gorilla City to capture him. That story is not finished, and it just immediately cuts to Clark in the Daily Planet office where he sees an explosion, which was something he couldn't see because it was made from some type of metal that he can't actually see. But he saw the explosion and he goes there, and Bendis remembers he invented a character called Melanie Moore, and she's in the book for a page and tells Superman that some club blew up that the mayor was in. And I think it's the club that blew up like a couple of issues ago when Red Cloud was fighting Thorn. And apparently, and then, fuck this book.
I'm already secondhand. Fuck this book.
He goes to visit Lois, and Lois and him sort of like start piecing shit together. And they figure out that Leviathan is fighting the Legion of Doom, and because the Legion of Doom have... Oh no! Fuck this book. Leviathan is fighting the Invisible Mafia because the Invisible Mafia have Lex Luthor, or they have access to Lex Luthor. I don't know, and they're getting in a turf war.
The reverse vampires, in conjunction with the Chum Group, to eliminate the meal of dinner.
Yeah, and I don't know why Leviathan is even entertaining the fact that a small-time mafia in Metropolis is even a threat. You know, this all-powerful organization, world-spanning organization that took out all the spy agencies of the world is at odds with, you know, random crooks that won't dare say Superman's name, who aren't invisible anymore. They've decided they're not going to do that anymore. And then
I saw that part.
Lex Luthor is somehow involved, and then that they end up fighting Lex Luthor in Metropolis because Justice League.
Wow.
This is such a shitty issue. It's so bad.
You know, I think Jersey Luck here in the chat sums it up. Joel, you'll never be done with Leviathan. Yes, I will, because I'm not right.
No, it's not done with you, Joel.
Anymore.
It's not done with you.
I'm out. You can't bring me back in. I won't be brought back in.
I just like why is Bendis trying, like, I have to think that this is Bendis because he's not going to be told by what to do by DC because but why is he trying to combine what's happening in Justice League with Invisible Mafia and Leviathan? These can't possibly be happening at the same time. It is physically impossible.
You know what I think it is? I think he got pissed off by people like us saying, how can any of this in your story take place at the same time as all these other stories from all these different writers? And he's like, fine, fuck you then. I'll show you how it can. I'll just do a bad job of it.
Yeah, well, that's the other thing. Like, other writers have, like, kind of sort of mentioned the stuff in Justice League. And I'm like, well, you've barely referenced it. You're just telling your story. You're not interweaving it in like this fucking idiot is doing. And it's just so bad.
Between Leviathan, the Justice Doom War, City of Bane, and I guess a couple other stories too, this might be one of the worst times for DC continuity ever because no one is talking to each other. Everyone is too big to be given notes to, and editorial is just sitting on their hands and not doing their goddamn job.
Yeah, it's very clear. Editorial is just like, I'm going on holiday. See you guys after Doomsday Clock.
I mean, I'm sure they have sticky notes where it's like, well, we can't tell Scott Snyder what to do because he's our golden boy. You know, people are actually liking what he's doing and it's selling. Can't tell Brian Michael Bendis what to do because he's a big acquisition and, you know, we're paying him more than anyone else.
We can't look weak and that we made a mistake here.
Yeah, because he might just run back to Marvel at this point. We can't say anything to Tom King because he's going to be writing movies at some point, and we don't want him bad-mouthing us in, like, Vanity Fair in a couple years, being like, oh, in comic books, you know, they stifled my creativity. I had such amazing ideas, and they never let me do it. They cut my 100-issue epic short. Can you believe that? Which, yeah, I think that's the most editorial has done its job, is to try and cut his thing. And even then, it probably wasn't their whole idea. It's probably like, oh, well, I have to go and write a movie now. And they're like, okay, I guess we'll pull you back to 85 issues then.
Yeah, it's such a weird time at DC, especially, and again, it's like that pendulum where it's like, and now it's swinging in kind of Marvel's favor, where they're getting their shit all together. They've got the XMen back up. You know, everything seems to be working out pretty well over there. And whereas at DC, it's just like everything's on fire. You know, all these writers are just like getting too full of themselves, or like they're getting too big for what they're doing and what needs to be done. Oh God.
What is it? Someone in the chat there, compared Tom King to Josh Trank, and I'm like, yeah, remember when we all liked Josh Trank for a week and how quickly he shat in that punch bowl?
There you go.
That has to be a record time.
DNGN says DC editorial is like an urban legend like Bigfoot.
Yeah, every so often you
get a blurry photo, yeah.
But there's no proof that it actually exists.
Yeah, it's just a man in a suit, and he wore big shoes to put the footprints down.
They say if you look closely, though, you can see DC editorials watch. Gotta watch out for that. Yeah, don't worry, everyone. It's bad now, but we'll just have a crisis in a couple years that'll fix everything.
Yeah, yeah. Well, once Bendis is off these books, because he's like the biggest like culprit of this. Like everyone else is kind of like not tying it in because they know it doesn't make any fucking sense to tie this book into the same things that. But Bendis is just like, I've got to tie everything together. I don't care if it makes sense. It's going to be
You
epic.
know what it is? It's a domino effect is what it is. Bendis stops giving a shit but keeps getting paid more, and editorial isn't telling him what to do, and because of that every other writer thinks they can get away with it. That's absolutely what it is, where it's like, we're not going to tell Bendis what to do, so you're not going to tell me what to do either. Again, editorial looks weak is what it is.
Yeah.
I know we bring this up all the time, but DC really needs like the return of a Jim Shooter style editor who's not afraid to break some heads and not afraid to be hated, honestly. People forget that Jim Shooter oversaw one of the best continuity eras for Marvel Comics, and so many people who worked for him hated his fucking guts.
Yes, because he kept an iron fist, kept them in line, kept them from doing like shit like this.
He was the real Iron Fist as what it was. And you know, if you're an editor, that's the thing. It's like working in human resources, you know, hiring and firing. You know, maybe you can't be everyone's friend. Maybe, you know, people have to hate you.
Yeah.
And maybe history will out and we'll remember where it's like, yeah, you know, I hated his guts, but boy, did he oversee a good era, though. Now you talked about Action Comics, so I guess I'll talk about Detective Comics too. I just read that before we started.
Yeah, this was good ending to that Mr. Freeze arc.
Yeah, it was pretty fun. You know, I definitely think they hit a bit of a roadblock where it's like, okay, so Nora Freeze is our villain now. Yes, 100%. Oh crap, what's Nora's character? Because she's been frozen forever. We don't actually know what she's about.
I think we built up a better story in our head where she would become a villain, but I did like what we got. I like that like this serum is like Lex gave it to him, and it's like a serum that may or may not have worked, and it like fucked with her brain and like took away, like made her a serial killer. It was like a serial killer serum that took away all her emotion.
Yeah, that was a surprise twist. I really didn't expect the connection to New 52 Bizarro.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty cool.
Did Tomasi write that? Because that feels like something Tomasi wrote.
Well, it was in Forever Evil, so it was Jeff Johns, and they're probably friends. So yeah, probably easy to reference.
Fair enough. Yeah, that was a surprise twist. She does the whole Hannibal thing where it's like, okay, so Nora likes ballet, and she also likes museums, and she likes killing security guards and rearranging their frozen body parts.
Yeah, that was really fucked up.
Yeah, and to weird fucked up like Hannibal towers.
Yeah, and despite all of this, Victor just wants to like save his wife, like what he's been doing, like his whole shtick, to kind of validate what he's been doing, basically. And she's like, no, fuck off, you fucking pale weirdo.
Yeah, you're smothering me with your love. And then she really gets the ultimate low blow in where I'm like, this is a good line, where she's like, look, you know why you love me so much? Because you need me. Because without me, who are you anymore, Mr. Freeze? You're nobody. You've defined your whole life by me and your love for me. And if I went away, you would have nothing. And I'm like, that's fucking sad, but true.
It is. It's so damn true. It's refreshing is what it is. I'm glad it wasn't just like that, like Love won the day where he was able to get her back in the end. Like, she's a proper villain now, and she's Mrs. Freeze and it's in the nice bit of irony, Mr. Freeze becomes the Nora of this story, where he's has to be put in a stasis tube.
Cryosleep,
yeah.
Just to keep him alive. And Batman probably with the best line, this is the thing that, you know, made me from like, yeah, this is okay to me actually really liking it. Where he goes, you know what the difference between you and Nora is, Victor? You know, Nora always had someone to love her. You have no one.
Yeah, I am not gonna love you, Victor.
Yeah, you are all alone in this ice, and no one is going to be like trying to resurrect you and everything. And I'm like, that's fucked. That's like his ultimate reward after everything. Basically, just put him in the bat fridge freezer. You know, put him there next to the ice cream.
Yeah, they fridged him literally.
They literally fridged him. You're absolutely right. Victor's in refrigerators. Oh man, that's gonna be great. Next time Damien comes home looking for a popsicle, there's a man in here. Oh, it's just Mr. Freeze. Don't worry. Are you gonna work on trying to wake him dead? I mean, it's on my list next to all the other things: cure cancer, solve the Middle East, unfreeze Mr. Freeze. It's there. It makes sense too, because we always talk about Mr. Freeze, that he's a great, amazing villain, but like his motivation is such like razor thin, where it's like, well, either he gets his wife back and he doesn't have a reason to be a villain anymore, or we go this place where it's like, okay, well, what if his wife came back, but now she's the villain and her motivations are different?
Yeah, it's really interesting, and again, like I don't know about you, but I got comments saying that this story ruined the character of Mr. Freeze because it like. They seem to think it stepped on like the stuff the animated series did. And it's like, no, it expanded on that and made it even better. Made it even better.
But I mean, look, Mr. Freeze's story is always a tragedy, and it remains a tragedy up until this moment. And I mean, look, it's not like he's going to be there forever or anything. They always come back. Mm-hmm. So they'll have to find a reason for that. And until then, I wonder where Mrs. Freeze is going to show up next.
Yeah, that's going to be really interesting.
Yeah. So, yeah, that was Detective Comics. It was a pretty cool ending. Like I said, I'm interested for the next arc because it's going to be a Damien-centric arc.
Yes, it'll be real cool. You have Tomasi write Damien again and write Damien as, like, how he should be written.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so what else did we have? I had one more, and that was Avengers 27.
I haven't read this. I still haven't read issue 26.
I read both back-to-back, actually, and they're all about Starbrand.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah, so issue 26 is like a flashback to Avengers BC, where we get to see the first Starbrand ever on Earth.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, nice.
And it was a dinosaur, actually. The meteor that crashed into Earth to kill the dinosaurs was actually Starbrand, and a T-Rex became Starbrand.
Oh, that's awesome.
Which, again, means historically in canon, Marvel's first superhero was actually a dinosaur.
That's awesome.
And the dinosaur fought the Kree for a little bit. How about that?
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, deal with that, everybody. And then we get to cavemen who got, run out of their own tribes because they were gay, actually, is what it was. Okay. And Aaron does this.
I wouldn't think they were that, like socially purified, inept, like they're hating on the homosexuals in 1 million BC. I thought they'd be fucking all cool with that.
You would think, where it's like, look, this is before the invention of shame and religion and everything, when we were all running around naked. But then again, people mention that in my comment section. I'm like, well, hate by its very definition is fucking irrational and everything. So people were irrational since the dawn of time. That's true. It's so funny because Aaron does this hilarious thing where it's like, yes, these two gay cavemen living together in a special garden where they grow fruits and vegetables that the rest of the world have never seen. And they name the plants and the animals. And I'm like, did Jason Aaron just make Adam and Steve canon to the Marvel universe?
He did.
That there was a Garden of Eden, but it was actually two gay cavemen. I'm like, oh man, Aaron, my man, you were having so much fun with this. And their garden gets all fucked over by the Deviants of all people, those guys the Eternals fight.
Yeah.
And again, one of the cavemen dies, and the other guy gets the Starbrand power, and he basically becomes the Hulk of Avengers BC.
Okay, cool. That's interesting, because I was wondering about that Hulk character, and I'm like, well, how are they going to do the Hulk? Because it's not going to be, a caveman scientist who develops the first atom bomb and gets trapped in its gamma wave.
Yeah, me create fire actually gamma.
Gamma fire.
Yeah. Oh no, me Hulk now. Yeah, which is a pretty good workaround, actually, because, yeah, you're right. The Hulk is a creation of the atomic age. But, yeah, and then the next story is, again, also about Starbrand. We see the Gladiator and the Shi'ar investigating an explosion on one of their prison planets where everyone was killed and they all have star burns on them.
Ooh, interesting.
Meaning that, yeah, a new Starbrand has been chosen and is running around in space causing problems. The Avengers got to go to space to deal with it. And then they do a fun thing where they actually jump forward in time to where the mission is already fucked up and they're all trapped in space, but you don't know how they got there. and they're all like friggin' scattered all over the place, and like Carol has a ship and she's gonna try and save them, but she flies by a white hole which turns her into binary again.
Oh, jeez.
And I'm like, that's a fun callback. And Robbie and Black Widow are driving around space in his car because, of course, the Hell Charger can drive in space.
Of course.
Naturally. But they're getting chased by a freaking Silver Surfer.
Oh, god damn.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh, cool, Silver Surfer gets to be in this comic. Awesome. And also, Thor got infected by the Brood, so now he's Brood Thor.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So that's that story, and this is a
Fuck,
fun
that
little
sounds awesome.
It is. It's pretty fun. It's pretty creative, and by the end of this, we're going to be getting a new, a new Star brand, clearly.
Nice. Yeah, well, we had to, because that was in that all the way back in Marvel Legacy.
Yes, all the way back in Marvel Legacy, and then referenced again by Daredevil at the end of War of Realms.
Yeah.
When he was the All God, so clearly this is a story that Jason Aaron has had in his head forever.
Yeah, Jesus.
So he's finally getting to tell it now, and here's hoping it's someone cool, because like I always know Starbrand existed, and I'm like, yeah, all right, he's kind of cool and everything, but I've never been particularly interested in Starbrand.
I don't think he's really been all that interesting character. Like,
No.
It's kind of like a Captain Marvel-ish character.
Yeah, just like another space guy who shoots lasers. That's the way I always looked at it. It's funny, but one of our old fans in the chat there actually had a good joke there. It's like, really, Starbrand, no Quasar or anything? I guess I'm too old wanting Quasar in my book. And I'm like, yeah, that's right, Quasar, another space guy who shoots stuff. He's got the bands and everything. They could very easily have done Quasar, but now we're doing Starbrand. Heck, if anything, that story would have been easier to tell, to be like, yeah, and the bands fell to Earth and everything, and that's why, the first caveman was a Quasar, but whatever.
I'm trying to remember what happened to the Nega bands at the end of Infinity Wars. I can't actually remember.
Oh, yeah, because there was the old Starbrand who couldn't be, or no, the old Quasar who couldn't be Quasar anymore. Then there was the new female Quasar Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. that Nick Spencer had invented, but I don't think we've ever seen that character again.
No.
Also, Amazing Spider-Man saying, can Phyla Vell turn it into Quasar again? I don't know.
She was in the Guardians, and then she wasn't.
Yeah, then she just kind of disappeared. Well, because they all got brain controlled.
Yeah, yes. So yeah, maybe she'll come back at the end of that book and into whatever they do next. Into, was it Jim Zub's Guardians book, or is it Jerry Duggan's Guardians book that's coming out?
Al Ewing.
That's right. I get them all confused. They're all good writers.
They're all really, really solid. Hey, speaking of Jim Zub, everyone, get ready next week, because I've actually lined up an interview with the man himself, so you might be able to see that one next week.
Awesome.
That's going to be fun. What's great about getting Jim Zub in for an interview is that I know I don't have to research any questions like for any other writer, because it's like, no, I've actually talked to this dude at cons a lot. I know we have a good rapport.
I read most of his stuff every week, so...
Can just chat with him. Obviously, got to talk to him about him taking over Conan and the new Serpent.
That's coming out this week as well.
Is that this week? Holy
Yeah.
shit! Okay, then I will have to talk to him about that, and I will be sure to let him know. Look, this goes next week, so if you have any spoilers, let them drop now. Feel free to spoil your own book. But yeah, that was everything I read this week. Did you have anything else?
I got two more books, and they're both
go for it, then.
Superman adjacent books, and they're both really great.
Nice.
The first one is Superman's Pal, Jimmy Olsen, issue 5, which
I forgot this book is still.
is a fucking amazing book.
I know, Mad for Action. Man.
Jimmy has like faked his death. He's become the social media influencer Timmy Olsen, who does like prank videos, and they get like major hits for the Daily Planets because they monetize the videos, so they're raking in the money. He's still trying to figure out how like Lex figures in, like what's Lex's scheme for like this rail company. He learns that like if he invents this rail company in Metropolis, he'll own like all of Metropolis's infrastructure and have control over power and water and everything.
And that's funny that it comes down to rails. I like that.
Yeah. But this book is really interesting because Jimmy gets into a prank war with Batman. So in his role as Timmy, he interviews this guy whose like job was he makes like huge versions of very small things like thimbles like and giant pennies and stuff, and Calendar Man wanted him to make him a giant calendar. The man said no, so Calendar Man murdered his whole family, burnt down his business and home and all that sort of stuff. So Jimmy's like, okay, so Batman and the news and everything won't pay attention to this guy, so we'll get Batman's attention by pulling pranks, and then he'll have to take notice. so he starts like fucking with Batman by like how many Jokers can we fit into this yogurt shop before Batman notices? And then Batman notices, and his Matt Fraction's Batman is so fucking hilarious because I know it's probably not, but it's basically a riff on Tom King's Batman, where he's overly broody. He does that whole thing where he says one word, pauses, says another word, pauses.
Oh, that's good.
And there's a scene where
that's really good.
Where Superman and Jimmy are on the roof meeting with him, and he's like standing there, and he's like, "Oh, hey Batman, how you doing?" He's like, "The city, it's raining in the city. It's always raining in the dark Gotham City," and he's like mumbling to himself and whatnot. And anyway, he just immediately hates Jimmy because he's a photographer and like part of it, and like a journalist, and so he gets into a prank war with him and like mails him Dexter that like covers his room in blood and all that stuff. And on top of that, we get this really funny thing where like it's this running gag where like Bruce overhears his employees are getting paid to laugh at his jokes. And he's like, "Oh, really?" And he's like, "Oh, well, wonder who this could be." And we learned that like Alfred is paying his employees to laugh at Bruce's jokes because Bruce is not funny at all. And so he's like, "Oh yeah, I've spent like 85 grand over the last couple of years to like have people pay people," and it's like, "Oh well, I'll dock that from your pay. I don't know why you'd keep paying people because I'm hilarious." It's just so hilarious. And then the mayor of Metropolis is a T-Rex, and it's just shit like that. It's just wacky shit.
Real golden age sounding, honestly.
It's great. It's fantastic.
I like that this is the thing that brought Matt Fraction back to writing superhero comics, a Jimmy Olsen comedy-centric series.
Yeah. Also, we get like a really cool reveal that like maybe the Luthers and the Olsens are actually related.
No,
like because there's this whole story about their family, and we get to see like the first Olsens that come to New Oberstadt, which would then become Metropolis, and then the Luthers and how their families were at war with one another. They were like basically like coming to the city and using the city as their own personal like playground, like who can build the biggest buildings and all that sort of stuff. And it's this really interesting shit mixed in with like wacky shit like Batman and Jimmy Olsen getting into prank wars.
Oh, compelling. Yeah, well, that sounds fun. That sounds something I'll have to check out at some point.
Yeah, it's great.
And you said you had another Superman adjacent book?
Yeah, it was Supergirl Annual Issue 2.
Oh, yeah, how was this? I know you weren't digging on the last Supergirl because it was literally just Batman, Superman from another angle.
This does what I wanted that book to do, and it digs into Kara's frame of mind. It's written by Robert Venditti, and we get to see Kara back on Krypton and like her life and everything and what it was like. She had like a secret boyfriend who was a Zod. And there's like that whole Romeo and Juliet thing going on with our families are warring. We can't possibly be together.
Never was there a story of more woe.
Yeah, and it's all revealed that this is all in her mind because every now and then we'll see like the earthquakes of Krypton as Krypton's ripping itself apart, and like people turn into like the Batman Who Laughs infected people and tell her that all this is gonna die and whatnot, and we learn this is like after she's been infected, and we learn that this is all like her mind getting rid of all of this stuff because as the Batman Who Laughs says in the issue, like all of this stuff was holding her back. She never got over like the death of Krypton or anything, never moved past it, and because of that she was limited in her abilities and whatnot, but becoming infected has gotten rid of all that, basically unlimited her inhibitions and everything.
Right.
And
which again is very much in line with all the other Secret Six characters who have been inverted.
Yeah, and Kara just kind of goes with it. And it's like,
Yeah.
and the Batman is last like, okay, what I want you to do is just go out into the world and, you know, fuck around, enjoy your new powers and whatnot. And she's like, okay.
Which is
Then,
way more justification for chaos than any of the other characters have gotten so far.
yeah, it's really interesting. It goes into like her whole survivor's guilt, where the whole thing is like she wasn't given the choice to leave. Like she was made to leave Krypton by her father and everything. She wasn't given the choice to stay, and it seeks to imply that if she was given the choice, she would have stayed, like with her family and everything. And yeah, it is really interesting, really cool. And leave it to Robert Venditti to do that. And he ties his Hawkman into it.
Of course, because Hawkman is also going to the dark side at the moment.
Yes, he ties in his Kryptonian Hawkman and everything, which is really cool.
Oh, that's right. You tweeted about that. That's fun. I like that.
Yeah.
Right on. All right, so it's good you got a better Supergirl book after last week was kind of disappointing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess that's it, huh? That's everything we had to talk about. That's the show this week.
Yeah.
Alrighty then. So thank you all so much for joining us. There was, I think, 17, 20 of you at the top there. Always appreciative. Obviously, if you're a patron, you'll get to listen to this episode first before anyone else, both in audio and video, for as little as $1 a month, $5 for video. I forgot to get all the names of patrons, but Matt's going to edit that in later for me, so that's going to be a new thing we're going to start doing now, so get ready for that one.
Yeah.
Again, next week, hopefully, if all goes well, we'll have a nice interview for you to watch. Matt and I are working on some cool stuff coming down the pipeline for Christmas. We're going to do Shazam because it is a Christmas movie, so why not? And Matt, you said, too, you had some interesting things you wanted to announce as well.
I do. I'm not going to, tell you guys exactly what it is, but it's a 2-part series, and the first part will be out sometime this week, and the next part not long after that, because it relates to something that comes out next week. I'm sure you'd be able to piece it together with what comes out next week. What's big in pop culture right now that comes out next week. You'll be able to piece it together.
I don't know. I'm bad at
something
guessing
to
games.
do it Schmeisis.
Oh yeah, Schmeisis on Schminfinite Schmurfs. I like that. I like that one a lot. Alrighty then. So again, thank you everyone so much for joining us. We will be back again next week, live at 10. It might be a little shorter next week because again, we're gonna have that little interview thing that's pre-recorded. But either way, you're gonna be getting some good show, I promise you. So until then, everyone, this has been Cape Joel.
I'm Matt.
And we will see you all next week again. Thank you so much for joining us. You can find us again, same Comic Multiverse time, same Comic Multiverse place. Bye-bye.
Bye.